What human being has killed the most people without knowing it? Whoever decided lead was a nice pliable metal to use, ancient cities just didn't know better, and whatever pipework they had used lead, and they would store wine in lead, use lead plates, drinking cups, etc. It went on for a very long time. The constant exposure really did some damage, and no one really knew why, for many thousands of years. Kenshi, they used that name in several JRPG video games too as reference to alchemy stuff. I think that was an alchemy elixir thing, likely not just lead, the whole kit and caboodle, mercury, arsenic, etc., just sort of throwing a bunch of crap together, doing your alchemy magic and saying this will probably make you immortal. Westerners were just as weird with alchemy, lead into gold and all that. That's when it would have started to my knowledge, and I said a very long time. Someone else commented about gas. We've been some mix of ignorant or uncaring about it for a very long time. Whoever buddied up to lead as a nice metal started the ball rolling to a very long problem. I have a few lead cups from the 1800s in drawers for collection purposes, so it went on for a damn long time. I've been reading about the history of quarantine, which is fascinating. I concur, and the Mongols using it as biological warfare, as mentioned in a previous comment. Yes, that, too. Sad that we haven't completely learned from history. That was one of the main points preached to me in high school. It is one of the things that really stuck with me, that and the butterfly effect. Okay, maybe I am being silly, but I do tend to play what if, reading news articles and looking for journal articles. I like falling down the rabbit hole. What I don't like, however, is how powerless I feel to make any positive change, or how I feel perpetually caught in the crossfire of so many conflicting thoughts. Makes me question my sanity, most times. Absolutely. Contrary to popular belief, our ancestors were very cognizant of how disease works and how to stop it, and it depends what you define by positive change. No one can cure world hunger, but something as small as checking in on your neighbor often leads to a chain of positive events. I believe we have more of an impact than we think, but we can't see the change past the first positive thing we do, so we think we're powerless. I believe you are right. They understood, to a certain extent, but did not understand the full vector. A few years ago, I read about the Mosquito Man and his descent into madness. Can you imagine being on the cusp of so much knowledge, but no way to prove it, other than what we would consider anecdotal? So many wise people before us have been relegated to the proverbial madhouse. To quote myself, their booze was much healthier. It was much lower ABV and was made more organically from healthier crops from healthier soil. Additionally, it must have been useful for long-term storage, like you said, not just of water, but also of the nutrients and flavors found in fruits and grains that it came from. They had no juice back then. Alcohol was their juice. They also did not dilute their alcohol with tons of white sugar the way we often do today. It was just fermented fruit or grass juice, which is also a probiotic, and it must have been much handier to drink from the cask than to boil and purify. And furthermore, they most certainly did know about boiling, which is why they boiled milk, meat, vegetables, and all sorts of stuff on a regular basis. They also fermented such things, which is why we have alcohol, pickles, yogurt, etc. They were quite a bit more food smart than most people today. I dare say your average medieval 13-year-old did more cooking than your average modern 33-year-old. Thank you for putting history in quotes. Thought I'd check it out, but a lot of the shows they had were about aliens and shit. Like, if their existence hasn't been proven, then why are you treating them like they may have been an essential part of our history? Save that shit for the sci-fi network and stick to the stuff that was written down. Some of them are poorly executed for sure, but technical skill wasn't really the main issue. The problem was that his art was profoundly dull, mostly just sterile landscapes or architecture. Obviously, in hindsight, it's kind of a fascinating glimpse into his psyche that the art he wanted to create was largely devoid of human life or individual spirit, but in the context of actually being an artist, his work was more suited to being on postcards or as some inoffensive decoration, definitely not the high art he aspired to. There are definitely a few famous examples of pieces that had fucked up perspectives or lighting or whatever, but these were more the exception than the rule. But these are the ones talked about the most, so people come away with the impression that he was genuinely bad at art. But in fact, most of his paintings and sketches were fine. They were just soulless and boring, was the issue. Thomas Midgley, Jr., May 18, 1889, November 2, 1944, an American chemist, developed the tetrathiol lead, TEL, additive for gasoline and chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, and held over 100 patents. While lauded for his discoveries during his time, today his legacy is seen as far more mixed considering the serious negative environmental impacts of these innovations. One historian remarked that Midgley had more impact on the atmosphere than any other single organism in Earth's history. Dude created leaded gasoline and the gas for car AC, both of which have the cumulative environmental impact that will haunt the world for untold years. The poisoning of leaded gas fumes has had health effects on inner-city people for decades. Pretty much, his whole thing was making the claim that the MMR vaccine caused autism, which at the time was being given to most young children in the UK. His conclusion was that having the 3 vaccines in separate jabs would be safer. The fact that he'd recently got involved with a company that was ready and willing to roll out these individual vaccines and therefore stood to make a lot of money if the NHS started buying them was probably strongly related. Giving maximum benefit of the doubt, I assume he wasn't absolutely homicidally indifferent to causing a fall in vaccination rates. After all, his whole thing was that you should take the different vaccine that his company would sell. But in all the scrutiny and hysteria, the fact that he was simply trying to peddle a different jab got lost in the media storm, and he became the poster child of a massive anti-scientific movement that continues to argue that he was silenced for telling the truth. It should come as no surprise, but the methodology in his study was absolutely wank. The sample size was ridiculously small, a few of which were even made up. The results were partially based on anecdotes from parents, and many actual scientific results in the lab were completely falsified. Fritz Haber. He invented the nitrogen process that global food production uses for approximately 50% of our food. Without him, global population wouldn't have grown at the pace or density it has. He was a genius, and his contributions have been so profound it's hard to know what things would have been like without them. I contribute deaths to him in only because there are far more people that live and die because of him. But there are also arguments out there that had the atomic bomb not existed, a lot more people would have died in the intervening years. The US would have invaded Japan, and if Japan had stuck to its philosophy of no surrender until the death of the last man, woman and child was killed, who knows what the death toll would have been. And without the threat of nuclear missiles, are we sure the Soviet Union would not have invaded Western Europe and set off WEI? When considering all the other ways people have been killed, along with the total number actually killed by nuclear bombs, I don't know if those people need to feel that guilty about their work. Pope Alexander VI, in 1493, he signed a document dividing the undiscovered world between Spain and Portugal and gave the starting colonialism the Christian arguments of bringing the right belief to the newly discovered populations, that in our times especially the Catholic faith and the Christian religion be exalted and be everywhere increased and spread, that the health of souls be cared for, and that barbarous nations be overthrown and brought to the faith itself. Christopher Columbus, while he was probably aware of some of the carnage he wrought with his slave-taking, child-raping ways in the Caribbean, he would have had no way of knowing the diseases he brought to the New World would go on to wipe out 50 to 90% of the hundreds of millions of people who lived there over the next century. That whole God having a son thing was originally a retelling of Zeus impregnating women in Greece, which was a common story told to cover women who got pregnant while their partners were at war during certain celebrations. Gods have been having kids long before Jesus was around. Most of Christianity was co-opted from other religions and fables. The Epic of Gilgamesh, considered to be the oldest record of a fictional story by humans, 2700 BC, tells the story of a flood that destroys most of the world. The ancient Babylonian god Tammuz rose from the dead, his symbol looks suspiciously like a cross, etc. Christopher Columbus exposed native populations to European diseases and illness, wiped out 90% of the population according to some estimates. I know smallpox blankets were a thing, but the reality is they didn't know what germs were, and the contact between these civilizations was the primary driver of sickness. Even without trying to get natives sick, I suspect we would have gotten the same result. Western religions have killed more people than anything in history by a wide margin. Yeah, if white European history is the only history that matters, sure, look at this list. Numerous conflicts have claimed much higher kill count than the Crusades. https://n.wikipediaorg/wiki/list_of_anthropogenic_by_death_toll. However, if you do want to make the claim that Western religion have killed more people than anything else in history, the Qing Rebellion would be a much better example than the Crusades, though I doubt most Western churches would recognize a crazy guy calling himself Jesus's brother a real part of Western religion. What? No, I hate Facebook. Woodrow Wilson literally is the reason for this stuff because of his choices during his presidency. But anyway, let's start with his biggest decision, waiting to join World War I. Had he joined in 1915 when the Lusitania was sunk, something he likely could have used as a clause to bring the US into World War I, the war would have been over in mid-1917. This would lead to Germany either being broken so badly that there would be literally no conceivable way for it to return under Hitler or Hitler-like figure, or the treaty would be less harsh and lead to Germany not feeling the need for a Nazi escape thing. As for Russia, the February Revolution would happen, but not the October Revolution. This would lead to no rise of communism. Basically what I'm saying is Wilson should have just done what Theodore would have done and joined World War I in 1915. Genghis Khan, while he did kill lots of people while realizing it, historians believe there's a much darker and higher kill count than he ever would realize. Genghis Khan would use biological warfare in some war one forgot who it was against, but historians think that the biological warfare spread to Turkey and subsequently to Europe. This biological warfare, the Black Plague, ended up decimating a third of Europe. In Brazil, there was an Cesium-173 case, not sure if I got the name right, that a guy and his friend found and scrapped an hospital machine that used an radioactive compound, and they were like, let's keep this cool shiny thing, and gave it on to friends, family. One of the confirmed deaths cause of the compound wasn't child, that are some of it. I think 190 people died, but I'm not sure. There are also a whopping 280 or more cases that aren't proved but are most likely to be from the same compound from the machine. Leo Bicklund couldn't have known that his invention of fully synthetic plastic in 1907 would eventually lead to a point where the entire planet is choked nearly to the breaking point. If we can't mitigate, stop or reverse climate change and we die, a large portion of the blame will fall on him. But he didn't know the damage he was causing, and he certainly didn't have extinction of everything on Earth as a goal. He can be blamed, but he shouldn't be held responsible. The Spanish invaders to the Americas, while they may have known their actions killed people, how many they could have never known. The diseases they brought killed possibly over 100 million people. I remember a quote from Cortez that said basically if each one of us had killed 25,000 of them, they would have still killed all of us first. Yet, they still wiped out an entire civilization with little more than blankets and trinkets. When Alfred Nobel, who invented dynamite, lost his brother Ludwig in 1888, the newspaper mistakenly printed his obituary instead. The headline read, "The Merchant of Death is dead." It went on to trash Alfred for becoming rich by finding a way to kill people faster than ever before and creating dynamite, which the world's militaries had weaponized and used to kill unknown thousands during the Spanish-American War. Upon reading his own obituary, Alfred set about trying to change his legacy. He changed his will in order to set aside a large portion of his estate to create 5 prizes given out in different categories, one of which was awarded for the pursuit of peace. The Nobel Prizes are a result of one man trying to change his image, and it largely has done. For now we think of Alfred Nobel as a visionary and leader in sciences and not the merchant of death he was thought of in his time. My butterfly fact answer is the first person to forge metal tools. Without utilizing metals from the ground, weapons are never made, and likely, civilization at this scale never happens. Forged metals led to firearms, bombs, swords, nuclear weapons, etc. over thousands of years. For a non-butterfly effect answer, it has to be someone that made an action that didn't know that they killed people. It's almost impossible to answer. Most people that do something will know if they killed people. You can't say someone like Hitler, Truman, or Oppenheimer, or someone like that, they are very aware that their actions and decisions killed people. I'd say those fuckers that invented tetrathalide and then spent the modern-day equivalent of billions if not trillions of dollars to discredit any scientist who pointed out it had negative health impacts and that ethanol could do the same thing for preventing engine knock without causing irreparable brain damage. Victims of lead poisoning end up more prone to violent tendencies, which means that the effects of this poison can never fully be measured, but violent crime as a whole has gone down significantly since they've pulled this dangerous chemical from gas.